Welcome to Under the Brim, the podcast where we talk about the mindset and motivation of the athlete under the brim. Happy Monday to you. Maybe it's not Monday today. Maybe when you're listening to this, it's really Friday. But if you know me at all, you know that I love Mondays. And Mondays are my favorite day of the week because for me, it's almost like getting a New Year's Day every week of the year. Every Monday is a clean, fresh start. For me, it's like taking a dry erase board and wiping it clean. I can add all of the things and hopes and dreams and goals that I have for the week to the board. And I have extremely high aspirations for what I'm going to achieve that week. And from that point on, anything is possible. And so I really love Mondays. And I hope that if you'll keep listening to this podcast, I can convince you to start to love Mondays a little bit more in your life as well. So I'm starting a new segment on the Under the Brim podcast where I want to talk to you about the Monday morning mindset is what I'm going to call it, giving you little tidbits of research, data, and motivation to get fired up to excel in either your sport, your business, or your life. So let's start with week number 1. Success is a mindset. So in doing some research, I was looking into the books by Carol Dweck, where she talks about growth mindset, and Angela Duckworth, where she talks about grit. I was really fortunate to get to read these for schoolwork, where they were required reading, but actually really ended up enjoying them and have referred back to them very often in the years since I was in doctoral school. But grit is determined as persevering with passion toward a goal. And how many of you have had grit in something? Like no matter, you just set your mind on something, and no matter what obstacle came up, you were like, I'm going to plow this roadblock down, or I'm going to scale this wall and get over it, and I'm still going to accomplish my goal. Nothing is going to stop me. And it has to be a long-term goal. So something that doesn't give you that immediate satisfaction, something that you can't get immediate reward from. You have to see it far off in the distance and make small incremental plans and goals and achievements to get there. Well, that is grit. And the other one that I mentioned is mindset, or growth mindset specifically. So they've done a lot of research on the brain, and they found that the brain is actually malleable. So it's not like once we get to 18, we are fully formed and developed and nothing can change about us. Maybe you've had a friend, or maybe you are this person who says, you know, this is just the way I am. I'm not going to change. Well, that's someone that has a fixed mindset. And they have found that the most successful people in life actually have higher levels of growth mindset and lower levels of fixed mindset. So someone with a growth mindset would say, I can't do that yet, but give me a minute and I'll figure it out. So in doing research on athletes, I actually was looking at a study from Australia, and they looked at over 200 athletes of varying levels, and they measured their mindset. They measured to see if they were more growth set minded focused or fixed minded focused. And they were trying to develop the athlete mindset and see what comprised the athlete mindset. And they found that the levels of achievement of the athletes really correlated with the mindset levels of the athletes. So those who had greater levels of growth mindset were more elite performers. So the age range of the athletes was from 16 to 73, and they varied in performance level of everything from recreational sports to elite sports, where they competed nationally and internationally and all the levels in between. And they found that those with the highest level of growth mindset were the highest level performers. So maybe those people who were in the recreational leagues didn't necessarily aspire to be elite athletes, but maybe part of the reason they didn't aspire to be that level was because they didn't have that grit, that determination, that drive. They didn't have that growth set to believe that it was possible for them. So of course, lots of factors go into that. The way that we are grown up, the way we're conditioned, the messages we get from people and coaches and mentors along the way. So that brings me to the next point. So what can you do to develop grit? Can it actually be developed, or is it something that's just born? Well, again, if you're following along, I just told you that we're malleable. We can change, we can grow. So we want to expand our growth mindset and develop a stronger level of internal grit. People who are more internally motivated than externally motivated will be more successful and be able to persist at higher levels. So how can you do that? You can do that by creating a better routine for your athlete, by not only just practicing physically, and again, maybe this is business, family, relationships, but also mental rehearsal was huge. When they looked at a group of Olympic athletes, they found that they actually said that more of their success was attributed to their mental rehearsal than to their physical rehearsal. So they attributed their Olympic level success to the mindset, to the skill work that they did to develop mentally. So put those practices into place in your life, in your child's life, in your athlete's life, and see how you do. And come back next week for your next Monday Morning Mindset.